Hello there. Today we are going to be reviewing two planners. I've used them both. First is the Clever Fox planner from Amazon. I've used this for years and I have recently moved on to the productivity method by Grace Beverley. So we're going to go over pros and cons of both and how I use them. I don't utilise every feature on the Clever Fox, certainly not on the productivity method either. So I'm going to take you through the layout of both, pros and cons of both, and how I use them. Starting with the Clever Fox planner, I believe they do have a website. I have always purchased it on Amazon. It comes in a variety of colours. They also do different variations. For example, there's also a Clever Fox budgeting book, which I do use to do a monthly budget. I'm going to do a video on that separately. So the Clever Fox planner has a guide. However, unlike the productivity method, the Clever Fox planner's guide isn't in the actual planner. It comes separately. It comes in like a nice kind of bougie box. It's almost like a gift box, and it comes with a separate planner and guide as to how you should like effectively use it, or like how you can most effectively utilise it. Traditional first page, so you can write your name in it so when no one steals your jotter at school. This is where we get to the difference between design and how I use it. You can see here there's my gratitude and self-awareness, my daily rituals. I am grateful for what I am passionate about, my affirmations and skills I want to learn. Now, I think these are all valuable pages. I think these are all valuable things to take down. I personally don't use them. I think big, bold statements like that can often get left undone as soon as you write them. You write them, then you forget about them. I do plan on the macro, but I prefer to plan and execute on the micro. I think if you're taking care of the days, then the big goals take care of themselves. What is it they say? Don't watch the scoreboard, just win the game, or just keep scoring points. I prefer to do that. So if you're someone that likes to write down what you're grateful for, brilliant. If you like to write down skills you want to learn, again, excellent. I don't use these pages. Again, my vision board. I am a linear thinker, I'm not an abstract thinker. Things like vision boards give me anxiety. I need things put out in a clear, logical fashion. If that is your style, a vision board, it is also catering to you. At this point it's almost becoming comical, the amount of this book that I don't use. Here we have my goals: health and fitness, business and career, family and friends, relationships and romance, finance, personal development, fun and recreation, and spiritual. I used to use these ones for like kind of longer term goals. However, I'm kind of locked into everything that I'm doing right now, so I don't really need to make new goals as such. And also, again, here you can have my focus for your goals in another mind map, which again I don't use for the same reason. It gives me anxiety. I like clear linear goals. I don't like drawing my goals. So here is a month and year planner. So again, to plan month to month, year to year, and it says this month's goal, this month's wins, how I'll improve next month. I think tracking these kind of things is good. However, there's also a page that lets you round up your week and you know what you did, how your wins, your losses, how you'll improve. I prefer to do it on a week to week basis. Again, I think tracking on the micro is much more effective than tracking on the macro. I think it's good to take stock at the end of every quarter, for example, but I prefer to track and iterate on over a smaller time frame. So now we're getting into the nitty gritty. This is the week to week planning part of the Clever Fox planner. So here's an example one I done a few weeks ago. So you can see here we've got this week's main goal, which I've wrote move because that's when we were moving house. And then this week's priorities: work to-do list, personal to-do list, habits and skills, then life balance to-do list, health and fitness, family and friends, romance, relationships, spiritual, personal development, fun and recreation. Now, I don't really know if you can see what I'd written there, but that doesn't really matter, that's irrelevant. Priorities, I enjoy the way that's laid out. I enjoy the way that's segmented. I think that is pretty comprehensive in that like your week's main priorities, because obviously some things in the to-do list take more precedence than others. That's a fact, and I like that it has that option. In the main goal bit, I tended to always write some motivational stuff. So like for ages and ages and ages, I would just write Michael Jordan. I just thought if I can approach my to-dos, if I can approach my tasks for the week the way Michael Jordan approached everything, as in being present and trying to do it to the absolute best of his ability, then I will execute on a very high level, so it's not really what it was meant for, but I would always just write Michael Jordan because I thought I can just bring that mindset to everything I'm doing, and that's going to bring my best self. Then this week's priorities, sometimes I had so much to do that my priorities, work to do and personal to do, would all kind of get blended just because I had so many things. But like, for example, for this week's priorities, I've wrote doing my book review YouTube because I do that every Wednesday. Couples review, me and Eva do a couples review every week. Vlogged about that before as well. Work to do list, a post on LinkedIn. And personal to do list, I had to sort Wi-Fi energy for the new flat and I had to go to Aldi. So you know how it's segmented, it's broken down. I enjoy that. Now, habits and skills, it's got a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 habits and skills that I usually ended up writing more, and then each has a Monday through Sunday and you can cross them off. I used to be all about these, so for example I've wrote steps, gym, meditate, stretch, diet, sun. Steps is self-explanatory, gym is self-explanatory, meditate, stretch, stick to my diet, and sun, I wanted to get sunlight, like significant amounts of sunlight early in the day because it's good for you. The problem with these habits and skills I have found is that because they're habitual, they're there, you just write them down and you pursue them every day, they almost don't become a priority. You normalise to them and you start to take them for granted and not make them a priority. 49 potential habits and days that you could be crossing off. I would try and get a higher amount every week, obviously aiming for 49 out of 49. But eventually I'd find myself kind of patching the same ones, and it wasn't really, I always say what gets tracked gets improved, but this was kind of the exception that proves the rule, and I wasn't really tracking it as much. So it's a good system. I wasn't utilising it as much near the end of my time using this planner. The bits down the bottom, life balance, to-do list, health and fitness, so I would always just write, I'd kind of break down those goals even further. So I'd write, for example, how many lifting sessions I wanted to get in, how many cardio sessions, how many kickboxing. Family and friends, I'd generally write something to do with seeing my sister, phoning my mum, something like that. Romance and relationships and fun and recreation was a bit of a crossover because obviously my relationship is also fun and where I spend most of my recreational time. So generally I would write like something to do with like being a good partner and planning stuff for me and Eva. Personal development, generally for me, I would write things in there like podcasts, meditate, audibles, read, take courses, stuff like that. And spiritual, again, I don't really have like a spiritual practice, but that would probably come under meditation for me. That's about as spiritual as I get. Now, in terms of days and dates, so it breaks down further to individual days. Again, you've got today's main goal, today's priorities, a schedule going from 6 AM to 9 PM, and a to-do list. Like your to-dos here and here, and then time blocks. So if I'm going to the gym at 7 AM, I would block out like 90 minutes at a time. The Clever Fox and the Productivity Method both have, although they're not dated, you can date them if you want, but although they're not dated, they do have a kind of diary, a time throughout the day, because I think it is important to allocate times. However, and this is a big however, I would get so stressed if I had scheduled in every minute of my day, and then if one task ran slightly over or I got caught talking to someone on the street and it pushed me back 30 minutes, I would go into meltdown. It's fine. Hi. Hello. I've been interrupted. I've got a couple of burglars. Hello. The burglars were Eva and Sasha, but I got talking to them and then my battery ran out, so we have moved a day forward. Like I said, don't go into meltdown if you get pushed back half an hour. Schedule an hour in your day for distractions, for things that run over. That way you just allocate the time of that hour that you've banked for distractions, for delays, into your schedule. Everything rolls forward, say half an hour. All good. At the end of the week here, there is a weekly review. As you can see, goal achieved, rewarded myself, that you have to tick those off. This week's wins, there's 3 lines for that. What tasks were not completed this week and why? What habits did I not pursue this week and why? What have I learned this week? How do I feel about my progress this week? How will I improve next week? And there's 5 lines under how will I improve next week. So I actually think that is very useful. Like, you have to track, but you also have to take stock periodically. So otherwise, tracking for tracking's sake doesn't really do anything. I mean, it might give you a visual indication as to how you're doing, but you do need to take stock of that and then allow that to correct your behaviour going forward. So I don't always complete the weekly review at the end. Usually, if I'm pretty much on task, then I don't. However, if for some reason I haven't been doing something, I will fill in like the what habits did I not pursue this week and why. Usually, I'll say like I haven't stretched because I felt fine, when that is still incorrect, because stretching is a proactive and preemptive habit, so that you do feel fine. You don't leave it till you don't feel fine to stretch. Stuff like that. Or it might be something like, file my tax return because I couldn't be bothered going through receipts. But you do have to address it and then have a reason as to why, so I find that very, very useful. Lots of blank pages here at the end just for mind maps or notes or whatever you want to do. That's pretty much us with the Clever Fox one. We're now going to move on to the productivity method by Grace Beverley. Starting off, different from the Clever Fox planner is that the guide for this is actually in the book, which is probably more practical ultimately, and it saves space and stuff as well. So as I said, it starts off with contents and a guide on how to use. So the first bit you can actually fill in is about me. It says, and what time of day do I feel most productive? Which morning routine makes me feel calmest and most equipped for the day ahead? What gets in the way of my productivity? What techniques are currently working for me that I should do more of? What techniques are currently not working for me that I would like to do differently, and what can I do to combat this? What are my top 5 motivations? I haven't filled any of this in yet, but I am going to. There's a page, habits to build, habits to break, which I also find useful and will fill in. My goals for the year. It's another kind of mind map, which, as I have said, I don't enjoy. I won't fill this in. Isn't something like that format, doesn't really serve me. It doesn't make me feel calm and ordered and planned. It feels chaotic. And I feel like I'll miss something when I'm looking at it. Goals for the month is just the same. And again, it's useful if that is like the style that you like to plan in. For me, that brings me no joy or satisfaction. So, weekly planner. We've got my goals for the week. Main work goal for the week. 3 things I'll do to achieve that goal. Main personal goal for the week. 3 things I'll do to achieve this goal. And then goal setting notes at the side. So my problem with this is I think it's slightly vague in terms of trying to set up for your week. Following page then breaks it down into days. But that's like a rough outline, because then like further forward in the book you've actually got like a full breakdown for each day. Main work goal for the week, main personal goal for the week. I understand that some goals will take precedence, but I might have more than one big thing I need to get done that week, So I think in this format, in terms of like planning for the week, I prefer the Clever Fox because it has work goals, personal goals, habits, splitting into rituals and stuff like that as well. So for me, it's okay, but I think it's a little bit vague for setting up for your week. I think the Clever Fox is structured better this way. Where this comes into its own is the daily planner. So we've got quick ticks. And that's something that take up to 5 minutes. Tasks that take up to 30 minutes. Projects is anything more significant than that, so something that will take a few hours, few days, few weeks. It says that the projects, even though they're listed every day, they might not be something that you're completing that day, but they're something you might want to be mindful of while you're working, something you're working towards, for example. And then this is what I really like here. 3 non-negotiable things that I'll get done today. I really like this because this for me counters the weakness of the Clever Fox planner with its habits that you'll do every day, and they can kind of fall by the wayside almost because you've just got them sitting there all week. The framing of these non-negotiables I really enjoy. I think that lends so much more importance to them, and I think that, well, like that say, they become non-negotiable. I think phrasing it that way goes so much further to making sure that they actually get done. So like, for example, what did I write today? So like this vlog, gym and steps. For example, I've been kind of dropping off my steps recently, so it's non-negotiable today. I have to get those steps done. I would have went to the gym anyway, and I'd have got this vlog done today anyway. Well, even that, I was kind of putting the vlog off a wee bit, so phrasing it as a non-negotiable I think to be very beneficial. Also, the fact that it quick ticks task projects, I love that. Some things take a shorter period of time, some things are done faster than others, some things are more important than others, and I like the way it breaks that down, because quick ticks, they can still occupy headspace, sending emails, for example, ordering something off Amazon that you need, they're still occupying headspace, the compound effect of having 6 or 7 of those things that you need to do can still be stressful, because when they're all jumbled up in your head it still feels like you're getting slowed under. Actually writing them down as quick ticks and then just mowing them down in the space of about 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever, you know, you free up so much bandwidth, you instantly de-stress, and you see that they were actually easy fixes as opposed to having them all there as if they're as significant as your tasks or your projects, because it's all just stuff that you've got to do. So I love categorising them in these ways. I think it's super efficient, super effective. And again, there's a schedule down the side, so going from 5 AM to 10 PM. And at the end of the book, there's just like pages for notes. Ultimately, my judgment is thus. They both have effective guides. Clever Foxes, you know, comes out with the planner. The productivity method comes within. I don't think that really makes any difference. The fact that the Clever Foxes come separately and they have to give you a nice box and stuff to house that, I think is good. You know, I should say right now, I think both of these are really ideal gifts, especially for someone like myself who likes to plan and enjoys this kind of thing. I would be delighted with either of these as a gift. So if you know someone that's that way inclined, I can't recommend these anymore as a gift. Like I said, initially, they both have things at the start of the book that are a lot of use. Personally, I haven't really utilised them much, but I do think in terms of the start of the planners, they're both about equal really. I can't really differentiate one from the other. I would say that, because as I said, I don't really like planning for the macro. I have macro goals that I'm working towards, but I think victory is one with daily execution, which is ultimately why I prepare to plan my days and just kind of let bigger goals take care of themselves. What it really comes down to for me is weekly planning. I think Clever Fox wins it. Breaking down work goals, personal goals, main goal for the week, all in separate categories, all with plenty of space. And there's categories there for all your habits and stuff as well, albeit I said that I think there is a weakness in that sometimes the habits can eventually get overlooked. I think the weekly planner for Clever Fox is better, and I have missed that from Clever Fox now that I've graduated to the productivity method. I think the weekly planner and the productivity method leaves a bit to be desired. It's a little bit vague, and I don't think it categorises the things as well. However, most of planning, like I said, is done in the daily execution, and I think that the daily planning or the daily planner pages are better in the productivity method. The quick ticks, tasks, projects, 1 habit I am keeping today, and 3 non-negotiable things I'll get done today, as opposed to the Clever Foxes where it's just today's priorities and a to-do list and then a schedule. The productivity method's better. You know, batching things by the amount of time they'll take, I think is very effective, very efficient. Non-negotiables is a game changer. That language, I just think, is just so conducive to really getting things done and just giving things that level of importance in your own head. So I think that ultimately it's the power of branding, first of all, as well. Like I said previously, I'm such an advocate of Grace Beverley, and I kind of in a similar vein to like Gary Vee, is that when they say something, I believe it. So she stands by a product. I was always going to try it. I will stick with the productivity method because, like I said, for me, a planner is most utilised on the daily. Writing down the macro goals, writing down mind maps, affirmations, what I'm grateful for. I don't really use them. And with these 2 planners, that kind of material is about equal in my mind. Perhaps for someone who utilises them more than me, they wouldn't be equal, but for me, who doesn't really set much stock by them, they appear to be about equal for me in terms of setting macro goals and writing what you're grateful for, etc. But the thing that I use it for the most is daily planning. I do like to plan my week at the start. I do like on a Sunday evening to sit and plan my week, so I don't love the weekly planner part of the productivity method. It will suffice, but I don't love the layout of it. However, like I said, the bit you use the most is the daily one. Guarantees your progress the most is the daily one, and the productivity method one is far superior for me, which is why, as much as I have loved the Clever Fox planner, I will not be returning to it. I will be sticking with the productivity method. I should say that the productivity method are all on pre-order right now. She's coming out with a dated one too. You see there's lots of different colours and designs and things, but I know that there is a backlog, so if you're wanting to get one, especially if you're wanting to gift one for Christmas, I would say that you really need to do that as soon as possible. That is us. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll link both planners in the description. Let me know what one you prefer. Let me know if you use either of these right now. Strengths and weaknesses, if you agree or disagree, or if you plan to get one in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.